As we approach the new year, one thing is for sure: entrepreneurs and small business owners are gearing up with business planning for 2025. Welcome to this week's episode of the Advisor Mentorship Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Hauser, and today we have a special guest on. I'm joined by Tony Sifuentes, VP Advisor Development Consultant here at Simplicity InsurMark. And Tony has had the privilege and honor of working with and learning from some of the top producers across the country here since 2001. Tony has also helped advisors over the last 2 decades scale their businesses and gathered billions of assets when it comes to AUM and insurance. How are we doing today, Tony?
I am good, my brother. It's good to be on the AMP podcast. Thanks for having me.
Of course. No, this is a huge treat. And I think there's a lot of knowledge in that head of yours from not just our industry, but getting to know a lot of different entrepreneurs across the country for this time of year, especially around business planning. So before diving into a lot of what we're going to be chatting about planning for 2025, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about who Tony is and also how you got started here at Simplicity InsurMark?
Who is Tony? Well, so I've been doing this this is my 23rd year in this business. So started right out of college, not really knowing anything about the financial services space. I didn't have anybody in my family or anything like that really was in this space. So it was very intriguing to me. I'm always up for a challenge. I'm always up for challenging myself, and gave myself 2 years. And if I could do this in 2 years, great. If I couldn't, then it was on me. So It's 23 years later. So I keep shaking my head when I think about that. Back when I started, we were a product shop. So the way that you had relationships with advisors is you pitched product. So I came in, they gave me some brochures, and I was pitching all these products, and they said, have at it, talk to advisors, get them to sell these MIGAs. Back then, multi-year rate guarantees they're paying 7% for 5 years, 2% commission guaranteed. And I was having a hard time selling that because I was having reps tell me, why should I do that when my mutual funds give me 12 to 15% almost guaranteed? I was like, really? That's guaranteed? Yeah, it's the closest thing to a guarantee you can get. I didn't know that wasn't the case. So I actually got my Series 7. And just because I was so tired of just getting stuff going over my head in the financial services space, I got my Series 7. Luckily, I passed it my first time. And I realized that either I was being lied to or these advisors had no idea what they were talking about. So I really made it my mission to educate, because if I educate the advisor, then at the end of the day, I can help them educate their clients. So it's been a true blessing. I've really learned a lot of things from my advisors. I have some really close, good relationships with my advisors. And it's truly been a blessing to learn and learn new things every single day. I'm constantly learning. So
yeah, it has been. I don't even think we even show brochures anymore when we talk to advisors. So it is definitely a lot different. So what keeps you around? So I mean, the evolution of our industry, is it the company, or I mean, it's so easy. Yeah. What keeps you here?
Yeah. So I've, when I started, we go to conferences and stuff, and, the different people that I started with, it's just like with anything, burnout's pretty easy, but I think what really keeps me going is the opportunity to learn new things. I'm a lifelong learner. I love learning new things. I love being challenged on things that I thought I knew. And I love learning from my advisors. I learn something almost every single day. And that to me is exciting. That's awesome. I love to do that. And then the other thing I would say is my advisors, the relationships that I have with them. So when I say it's a blessing, I think it's a true blessing to be able to work with people you actually enjoy being around. I treat them like family, and my coworkers, like yourself, like you, Randy, and all the other guys at InsurMark as well too. We kind of have a brotherhood, and that expands to our advisors as well too. So that's what keeps me around. You guys keep me around. My advisors keep me around, and then learning new things. That's what really keeps me around.
I see it in you. I agree. Living the journey. You've definitely paved the way here at our company. What are some of the things that you think for advisors though? I mean, we're not the same office. We don't operate the same way we did back in when you first started. So, what was probably the biggest change or two changes you've seen here as of recently within our organization compared to maybe like the last decade?
When I first started, the way that you developed a relationship with an advisor is you did something called fax contracting. We would actually fax out contracts with $100 gift certificate, and we would get contracts in our fax machine. So completely changed. And over the last 10 years, it's significantly changed. We were already going through the process of going from a product centric company more towards business planning, helping advisors actually be better entrepreneurs. But I would say the biggest change has to be when we were purchased by Simplicity Group. That is bar none over the last 10 years, the biggest change. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty hesitant. I would just say I was cautiously optimistic, okay? Because when they came in, they said, "Hey, we don't want to change the culture. We love what you guys are doing. Rock on." And it's like, "Really?" Yeah. And I'm still waiting for a change, and it's been what 7 years now. So um,
Yep.
that has been the biggest change. I would say moving our distribution model, moving from a product centric more towards business planning and coaching, and then I would say the second thing, because of that relationship, being thrown into the Simplicity family, our resources have exploded. My word, we like literally can do anything. And back when I started, we were just heavy on the annuity side. Now we can do literally everything and give advisors really a one-stop shop to have the resources that they normally get if they're captive somewhere else. And but we still, you know, are fiercely independent as well too. So that's what I would say. Probably the two biggest thing is our Simplicity relationship, and then the resources that we have. We just have access to so many good things for advisors now.
I could definitely attest, and like you, I liked how you used that phrase of. I was definitely, I would say, optimistic for but not knowing what you don't know with the simplicity purchase, which has been great, has been absolutely great. And now here we are today, and I'm sure advisors going on this journey with us. And I mean, you've had some relationships. I think you've worked with some of your advisors for it has to be at least 15 to 20 years now for some of them. So from what you see from some of the top guys and girls that you get to work with, what are some of the common traits that you see within those advisors? What helps them succeed each and every year?
So common traits. Yeah, so there are some patterns that you see from advisors that I see from advisors all across the country, and man, it's been awesome. I cannot stop saying how much of a blessing it's been to be able to work with these guys and learn from them and share ideas and be a part of their success. But if I had to boil it down to three big things that I see, it would be number one, a top advisor usually has a guiding light, and they are relentless to hit that guiding light. They have some kind of a northern star that pushes them to hit that regardless of what's happening around them.
Hmm.
So they, whether it's their vision, whether it's their mission, whatever it is, they're dialed into that, and they have a relentless pursuit of hitting that vision and mission, whatever it is, that guiding light. So um, that's probably the first thing that I see. Second thing is they're lifelong learners. They don't. The top advisors that I run into, they constantly want to learn more. What's that saying? If you think you know everything, then then you start either going backwards or you figure out you don't know anything. So
Hmm.
um, The top advisors that I run into, they're lifelong learners. They're always open to learning new ideas. They don't think they know everything. When you think you know everything, you start going backwards. So I've really adopted that approach myself too, and they're eager to learn new ideas. The third thing is I would say they have a do it now attitude. So if they get that knowledge, they implement it. Because if you have all these good ideas, you're writing everything down, you're taking the time to do everything, and you don't do anything about it, you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to progress or move forward. So I would say that's probably the third thing is they are doers. They do it now. Do it now. Do it now, and worry about it being perfect later on down the road.
And I think the execution part, though, I would definitely say the failure to launch some of the advisors that, I mean, there's some that I've seen at our family reunions that have been with us for years. And maybe this was their first family reunion, that maybe we saw them in the last 2 years. So it's almost to where the the opportunities there, the mindset, it might not be there at the moment, or things might happen, but I think, for what you're saying, being able to execute and having a team behind you, I can definitely see that being a common trend based off what you're seeing. And I think for 2024, the failure for execution too, what are some of the obstacles that you see from your advisors for challenges in their business this year as you go into business planning for next year?
Yeah. So the biggest thing I see right now with advisors is they're either not investing in their business the way they should be, or they're investing in the wrong things. They have the shiny object syndrome.
Hmm.
Hey, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? And they just know, again, they're off course from that guiding light that they have, that they need to have. And yeah, I would say that's probably the biggest thing is either they're not investing in their business and they're wondering why they're not doing well or getting in front of clients, or why they're so overwhelmed with the day-to-day operation stuff, because they don't want to hire staff. There's I see this underbelly of, almost beating your chest. I have no overhead. I do everything. And it's really strange to see that in our industry, when every other industry you see, like a McDonald's or anything like that, they're all about leveraging time and stuff. And it's just absurd to see the owner making the French fries and cleaning the restroom and taking the to-go order. But we see it all the time, with advisors. They're like, well, I have no overhead, and they're just stressed out. So I would say that's probably one of the biggest things. I see a lot of advisors, financial advisors, that are financial advisors that happen to be a business owner. So they break away from some group or something, and they want to start up their own company. And after a while, they're like, wow, I'm doing well. And they're drowning because, they don't know how to run the day-to-day business things that a normal entrepreneur needs to do. So that would be another big thing, is structurally within a business, how to actually run it at a high level. We've been fortunate to go through that and have that training ourselves. We had one of the best coaches in that, with the purchase of with Simplicity purchasing us. We went through that ourselves. So that was really cool that we had the honor of going through that ourselves, and to be able to help our advisors, scale and grow value in their companies as well too. So that would be the second thing, is financial advisors just happening to be business owners. And then what do they call it? The imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I see that as another big thing. It's like, man, they don't dream big enough. They just think that
Hmm.
they're always destined to do what they're doing, and that's it. So those are probably the biggest three things that I see from advisors.
And it's interesting you say, and you put in that phrasing, because right now our industry is literally coming off of, so we don't know what 2024 final numbers will be. So last year, you being in the industry for over 20 plus years. So for the annuity side, we hit record breaking, all-time highs in 2023. This year, supposedly we're on pace to clip and beat that. So the aspiration of thinking big as an advisor, I mean, it's basically time to go. If you're doing your business planning calls with Tony and other people, whoever you have in your circle of focus for next year, it's okay to now launch going into next year. So when you're doing your business planning calls, are there any I'd say like key takeaways that you try to aspire with advisors, or what are some of the things as you're going into this for next year? What's something you're having advisors really focus on that you think is going to set them up for success based off of having a great year this year? Where do they need to go for next year?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. The biggest thing is doing those planning calls. Not a lot of advisors do those, and we're doing that with our team right now. So um, it's funny what you say earlier about the annuity side of things. Again, when I first started, we were heavy on the annuity side, and we moved more towards holistic planning, and it's just about gathering assets. So because the more assets you gather, the more clients you can help, and the more clients you can help, and the bigger impact you can make. So in order to do that, the biggest things that I see that I'm recommending and big takeaways would be leveraging time. So
Yeah.
hiring and leverage, and that's either hiring people, that's using systems and processes or whatever it may be, but leveraging their time, having the mindset of an entrepreneur. Again, I always use the McDonald's analogy all the time. You don't. When's the last time you've seen the owner of a McDonald's? I can't remember. They're at home somewhere and they have their systems and processes in place that is taking care of their business, and their business is running like a well-oiled machine. That's what an advisor should aspire to. And that's what the top advisors really do. If you think about it, they have things dialed in, and they are leveraging masters at leveraging their time. Um, Another thing is marketing, and not just marketing, not just following the next shiny object. I can't. I'm on the same list as you are. I get all the shiny object emails and phone calls as well too. But not just following the shiny object, but actually having a plan and actually attracting their ideal client. I had an advisor one time. He specialized in higher net worth clients, estate planning and that kind of thing.
Hmm.
I was like, "Wow, that's awesome!" And have you ever considered doing seminars? Tony, seminars don't work. They're terrible. They don't ever have any money. They're apps. Don't even talk to me about seminars. I dig a little deeper. I was like, "Well, what was the seminar?" He was like, "I got so many people there, but they didn't have any money." Well, what did you talk about? What did you discuss? It ended up being a social security planning seminar, where social security planning seminars typically get more middle America, more blue collar people most of the time. So he thought because he was having the wrong topic that all seminars are like that.
Mm.
So I get that a lot as well too, is that, seminars don't work, or this doesn't work, whatever the marketing platform is, just because they implemented it the wrong way previously, or they just had bad advice. So, and then the last thing I would say is succession planning, actually either selling your business or passing it on to the next generation. We're getting a lot of that from our advisors, and it's awesome to be able to help them think about their business in a different way, to actually create equity value in their business. What are some of the levers that you can control to do that? Not only to sell your business, but to be able to pass it on to your son or daughter or whoever it is and set them up for success. So that'd probably be the third thing I would say.
I agree. And I mean, if anything, funny you say that about the seminar thing too, because like we're, especially a lot of the advisors that listen to this and that are going to continue to come on board with InsurMark. So as our company continues to bring on new people, those ASTs, advanced sales training, and that's a
Right.
big component of some of those advisors who haven't done seminars in maybe 3 years, 4 years. We have some people from those after those events go in and they start doing their workshops. And the main thing is consistency, right? I mean, that's what I would say probably next year. is going to be also something that is a real focal point for advisors, is more on just, if you have a plan, keep going with it. Don't
Yes.
just do one market. I mean, what do you see with workshops? Do you see people do one, and then if those results are terrible, they just stop?
Sometimes they bet everything, their last $4 or $5,000. They'll do a seminar. They'll put everything on their shoulders and their backs just for that one seminar. And most of the time, something usually goes wrong in the first seminar. Usually you have to do 3 to 5, and then that light bulb clicks and you're off to the races. But you're absolutely right. They won't give themselves that time to learn that process. It's now, I want it now. I want it now. And okay, first seminar went bad, you know, maybe because of them, or maybe, external reasons. And they're like, oh, they don't work, or whatever the marketing program is. You can just plug it in and it works out the same way.
Yeah, it's like that. It's that self-doubt almost, of just, instead of what you said earlier really well, is about the very top of the conversation. It's about the mindset. If the advisor just, I mean, they're going to attracts success. So if they just go into it, but have the right tools put together, you can't just go do a seminar. You got to have a foundation behind you, maybe a staff member or two, or
Great point. Great
you
point.
gotta have something that's selling for you when you're not there as well. So talk a little bit about, for some of your advisors, especially for next year, since business planning is going to be a huge focal point for the next, I'd say, 6 weeks of this year for our advisors. What are some of the pushback, or is there any? It's got to be tough to change, right? I mean, change has to be tough.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it is. That's probably the biggest thing, is just change with some of these advisors. And, fear of the unknown. It's brand new. They're getting out of their comfort zone. Believe me, I'm same way as well too. I forced myself to get out of my comfort zone, um, you know, at work, with what I do, and outside of work as well too. And I think that's what you got to have, that mentality, is embrace the suck. I've heard that.
That's pretty good.
And but I think you have to have that mentality, is you have to embrace those things, understand that that's part of the process, to get your business going. But yeah, that's what I see. The biggest pushback is, changing. Why should I do that? Everything's going good. I'm getting this. I'm getting the income just to be comfortable enough, just to be comfortable. And, that's scary, getting out of that, and getting out of your comfort zone, So,
Hmm. I mean, we've even, so across the board, not just you and I, but I mean, other ADCs here. So we have such a large group of advisors that are constantly with us, with Founders Club, Family Reunion, our number one advisor constantly. I think he's on like 300 plus Audible books a year.
oh, huge lifetime wear. Yes.
And I think for those that are really trying to check themselves in, doing their business planning for next year, it all starts internal. So I think what you just said there is spot on about change. Is there, what are some, if Tony had a list, he has a long list, but if there was mainly three top things for an advisor going into next year when it comes to their business planning, what are three main flag points of their business that they absolutely need to have going into 2025? What do you think?
I would say, if I had to boil it down, try not to focus on the shiny object. Okay. Keep your guiding light. Keep that in mind. Always reference that guiding light. If you don't have that, then get with somebody to help you develop that. And that's something that we do all the time, is, helping advisors figure out their why, and, have that guiding light, because then everything else, all other decisions, can be referenced off of that. Is it helping me, pushing me towards that? Or
Mhm.
is it veering me off of my guiding light? So I would say, is try not to focus on the shiny objects. It's hard, because I get the same emails, I get the same phone calls as advisors as well too, because I'm licensed as well. Second thing is, have an actual plan to scale your business. and not just a brand new product. Well, hey, tell me about this product. I get it. Product is just a tool to help solve a problem. And I get it. It's very important. But I think advisors really, really should have an actual plan, or get with someone or a group that can help you actually scale your business, rather than just growing 5 or 10%. Scaling is a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
And I would just urge them to get with somebody that has that mentality. And it's not, if the product is a solution all the time, you may want to reevaluate that.
Mm-hmm.
So last thing is, I would say really decide what you want to build, what you want to have, really, really decide what your Northern Star is, because that's something that I overlooked early on in my career, is how important having that Northern Star, having that vision and that mission is to everything else that you do, for marketing, to attracting clients, actually attracting and not chasing clients, to attracting good talent to your company. I mean, who wants to work with somebody that doesn't really have a story and they don't really get, what they're trying to create? People want to be a part of something. So, it's such an important thing. It's huge, ginormous. I mean, I go on websites all the time and it's just like, we do financial planning, click here to do an appointment, that kind of thing. It's all the same stuff. You have advisors, I have advisors that they have an amazing story, awesome story, and everybody knows about it. They tell everybody that they can about that story, and that helps them attract people to them. So I would say decide what that your Northern Star is, or get with somebody that can help you develop that, and have that Northern Star to base everything else off of. So those would be probably the three biggest things I would say.
Wise advice. And as we're wrapping up, is there any final thoughts or words of wisdom from Tony Sifuentes for the listener?
No, I would just say keep learning. Jeremy, I'm going to give you some kudos, man. You came in and we've been doing this for 40 years. So we're an old school. We were an old school company, right? You've really injected some youth and some brand new ideas. The use of this, what we're doing right now, the podcasting, so the use of social media. So I would give you kudos, man. You've done awesome. It's been absolutely amazing to see your growth, to be a little part of that as well too, and to see your growing family and to see the impact that you've had on other advisors as well too. So I would close with that. Great job, buddy. Love you, brother. Keep it up.
Yep.
And here's to many more years.
Yeah, no, appreciate that, Tony. Thank you very much for your time. Also, thank you to the listener for tuning in to this week's episode. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite listening device so you do not miss out on any future episodes of the Advisor Mentorship Podcast. Also, follow us on LinkedIn at Jeremy Hauser and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Jeremy Hauser AMP. And as you share this episode with a colleague or a team member or a friend, remember, in a world full of betas, be an alpha.